Alright, so example 2, we've got x squared is equal to x minus 8. First thing, we have to get this in standard form. So we got to move this x over, we got to move that 8 over. So I'm going to subtract an x. Boom, those cancel, bring everything down. So I've got x squared minus x is equal to negative 8. Then I got to move my 8 over. So add 8. Those cancel. And we get x squared minus x plus 8. Now, label your a, b, and c. My a here, what's in front of x squared? It's 1. My b here, what's in front of negative x? That's a negative 1. And c here is positive 8. So, we're going to use a quadratic formula. So we've got x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Just plug in your values now. X is equal to the negative of negative 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 1 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 8. And all of that over 2a. Or sorry, 2 times 1, because a in this problem is 1. Now that we have it written down, we can put it in our calculator. So alpha y equals, push enter, I'm going to go negative of negative 1, and we'll do the plus 1 first, plus square root of, oh, excuse me, negative 1 squared minus 4 by 1 by 8 over 2 by 1. We got no real answers. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through and we're going to double check and make sure we get a negative inside the radical. So I'm going to go ahead and just simplify this side. I ran out of room going down, so I'm just moving it to the right. So negative of negative 1 is positive 1. Plus or minus the square root. We're just going to simplify the square root. Negative 1 squared is positive 1 minus 4 times 1, which is 4, times 8, which is 32 over 2. And this comes out to 1 minus 32, which is negative 31. So 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 31 over 2. Anytime you see a negative inside the radical, you know it's going to be no solution. So, if you get no solution on your calculator, I want you to go through and just simplify inside the radical and double check and make sure it's negative and not that you made a mistake plugging it in. Alright? Let's go to number 3. Now, number 3 is written a little different. We've got negative 2x squared. We've got a 16x, and we've got 32 over here. Doesn't matter which way you go, but you need to have everything on the same side with 0. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the 32 over. So I'm going to subtract 32. It doesn't combine with anything, so I get 0 equals. And now we're just going to put our x squared first. So negative 2x squared. This is positive 16x. And that's going to be minus 32. We have our a, b, and c now. A is negative 2, b is 16, c is negative 32. And let's put it in our formula. So we've got x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And all we're doing is plugging in our values. So x will equal negative of 16 plus or minus square root 16 squared minus 4 times a, which is negative 2, times c, which is negative 32. And all of that is over 2 times a, which is negative 2. Let's go ahead and simplify one step. And then put it in our calculator. So negative 16 plus or minus square root. Now in here, let's start to simplify that out. So 16 squared minus 4, parentheses, negative 2, parentheses, negative 32. And I got 0. So all of that is going to be the square root of 0 over negative 4. Well, we know the square root of 0 is 0 times 0, right? So essentially, we're going to get x is equal to negative 16 plus or minus 0 divided by negative 4. Well, if I add 0, I have negative 16. If I subtract 0, I still have negative 16. So all I have to do on this one is get negative 16 divided by negative 4. And all I get is positive 4. So x here is positive 4. This one, I did it step by step just to show you that sometimes you can get just one single answer. All right? I'm going to stop the video here. We got 2 more examples to do.